When you think of Japan, the images that often come to mind are bullet trains, towering skyscrapers bathed in neon lights, bustling night streets, and ancient temples nestled within a modern cityscape. But beyond this beauty, behind the illuminated streets of Tokyo lies a reality few truly see. A Japan where the homeless, the forgotten, live their lives quietly in the margins. They are not invisible ghosts drifting through the city. They are people, each carrying untold stories of hardship, loneliness, and a fragile thread of hope. Behind every weary gaze under a bridge, behind every cardboard shelter against the winter cold, is a life once filled with dreams. They once had jobs, families, love. In Tokyo, one of the wealthiest and most advanced cities in the world, an estimated 5,000 people are homeless. This is not a small number. Roughly 80% of them are men, many of whom have quietly slipped through the cracks of a fast-paced society. The number of homeless women in Japan is significantly lower than that of men, due to several factors. Firstly, women in Japan are more likely to receive support from family members or relatives in times of crisis. Additionally, they often have better access to part-time jobs in fields such as elderly care, housekeeping, or service work. Jobs that may not pay much, but are enough to keep them off the streets. Why do people become homeless in Japan? Japan's unemployment rate is relatively low compared to other developed nations, reflecting a stable labor market. And yet homelessness persists, even in a society known for its order and economic power. What's surprising about homelessness in Japan is that many of those affected are not people who recently lost their homes or jobs. Some have endured major life setbacks, divorce, illness, or job loss, but others still hold steady employment. They work full-time jobs, yet their income is simply not enough to cover the cost of living. In Tokyo, the average rent for a small 20-square-meter apartment is around 100,000 yen per month, approximately $650. For many low-income workers, this is unaffordable. A more common alternative is the 24-hour internet cafe. Here, they can rent a small private booth for the night, costing between 1,200 and 1,600 yen, about $8 to $11, with access to shared bathrooms and showers. It's far from ideal, but significantly cheaper than renting a room. These individuals don't sleep in the same place every night. They move frequently from cafe to cafe, blending into the background of city life. By day, they go to work like everyone else, so discreetly that even their colleagues often have no idea they are technically homeless. Others find themselves homeless after losing a job, suffering a workplace accident, going through a divorce, or simply falling victim to a changing society. These are the moments that push people over the edge, into what some call the abyss. This man was once the owner of a small business. For years, he supported his family and lived a stable life. But in 2013, his company began to fail. Eventually, it went bankrupt. His wife and children left. He couldn't find another job, and so he chose the streets. What's unique and often tragic about homelessness in Japan is the weight of social expectations. In this culture, failure is not easily accepted. Losing a job or struggling in life often brings deep shame. Many avoid seeking help simply because they don't want others to know. Rather than reaching out, they retreat, quietly disappearing into the shadows, carving out a new, invisible existence on the margins of society. Life of the homeless in Japan. Life for the homeless in Japan is very different from that in many other parts of the world. With a strong sense of dignity, they feel shame in asking for help. They do not wander the streets or beg. They do not want to draw attention. Homeless people in Japan live an invisible life, abiding by unwritten rules. Some set up temporary shelters or makeshift homes made from cardboard on quiet streets, under bridges or in parks, always striving to remain as discreet as possible. These makeshift tents are often packed away during the day to avoid detection. Many people have fixed shelters in parks or under bridges, with small stoves to cook simple meals and save on living costs. Their daily routine begins early, around 3 a.m., when the city is still asleep. They quietly move through alleys, trash bins, and recycling points to collect cans and plastic bottles, which they sell to recycling centers. On average, they can collect about 2 bags of cans, earning about 3,500 yen a day, around 23 US dollars. This is enough for them to afford a modest meal. This man lives quietly by the riverside. Every day he rides his old bicycle into the city at dawn to collect cans and plastic bottles for recycling. But not every day goes as planned. Some days he wakes up with aching legs, feels too tired, or simply gets a late start. And by then, others have already picked through the best spots. On those days, he might only gather 1 bag of cans, earning around 12 US dollars. When that happens, he tells himself to be more frugal and settles for a simple bowl of noodles to get through the day. For many, 3 a.m. is the most significant part of their day. It is when they feel they are still capable of working, still able to make a living through their own effort. After a long day of collecting, some treat themselves to a cheap can of alcohol, not to get drunk, but for a brief moment of comfort, a reminder that they still exist in this bustling city. Government and community efforts. The Japanese government has implemented various programs to support the homeless, ranging from free meal distributions and temporary shelters to access to basic healthcare services. These initiatives reflect a genuine effort from both the government and society to care for those living on the margins. But the question remains, is it enough? In reality, not everyone experiencing homelessness can benefit from these services. Some lack proper identification, a basic requirement for official assistance. Others carry a deep sense of shame and pride, making it difficult for them to seek help, even for the most fundamental needs like a warm meal or a safe place to sleep. In addition, the government offers job training and employment programs tailored for the homeless. However, not everyone has the physical ability or mental well-being to take advantage of these opportunities, especially those who are older or have suffered from long-term hardship and health issues. While progress has been made, lasting change requires more understanding, more empathy, and more collective effort. It's not just the responsibility of the government, but of society as a whole to ensure that no one is left behind. In the heart of glamorous Tokyo, there are people quietly living on the margins of society. They do not ask for pity, only to be seen, to be recognized as real human beings with stories, dreams, and dignity of their own. We hope that through this video, we can open our hearts just a little more, feel a little more compassion, because sometimes even a simple, kind glance can bring warmth to an entire life. Would you like a voiceover version of this in a documentary tone?